I'm back. I know I've been gone for a while, but life happens, right? I've had a ton of stuff going on. Um, so, just a recap on my life, if you really care. I left an amazing job down in Statesboro, Georgia. I was working at Georgia Southern University with an amazing staff. They absolutely made my job super easy. And I got the opportunity to come to a job back in North Carolina, which, as most of you know, is where I'm from. Being closer to my people, my friends, my family, the whole 9 yards was really important to me. So they offered me something I couldn't really refuse. So I took the job. I moved back to North Carolina. And I am starting a new, amazingly different journey here at this school in Carolina Blue. So for all my NC State people, you know I am a fan of the Wolfpack until I die, but I just happen to be wearing some Carolina Blue nowadays. So don't hold it against me too much because they aren't as bad as we thought they were. They're actually pretty cool. So when it comes down to sports, I don't know if I'll be rocking all the way hardcore with them, but I mean, NC State, we didn't really make the tournament this year, so no shade to my people. I love you. But, as I got along with everything and I was like, getting super busy, and I thought to myself, I really miss doing the blog. And I really thought about why I started this whole entire blog in the first place. And actually, the thought came to me this summer. I was working with a graduate student over in Multicultural Student Affairs. Shout out to Nicole. She gave me the idea for a theme song, which, by the way, she never recorded. And then the day after Donnie got elected, 45, I was laying in bed. I called in sick that day. I was like, I just can't do this. This is too much. The world just felt so dark to me. And I thought, what better time than now to share my thoughts, my feelings about the world, bring some life, some excitement back into my own world, and hopefully make some people laugh at some stuff that they think is funny that I really just be talking about, right? So I guess we're getting back to it, right? Crown Commentary coming at you, episode 103. Let's get started. All right, so let's jump right in, right? Before we get started, though, please don't judge my hair. It's week 3 on these twists. I'm taking them out tonight after class. One of the things I didn't mention, if you don't know, I am currently in a PhD program, and I am all but dissertation, so the coursework is done. I have been able to make it through that. And at this point, it's all about the dissertation. So for those of you that have heard about dissertations and kind of what that means, it's a very arduous process, a lot of writing and rewriting some more. And all of you know, if you have any idea about me in academia, writing is not my strong suit, but we out here thugging. I have some really great people behind me to hopefully push me through this process. I'll talk more about my dissertation if you really care, but I'll keep you updated about the process, because one of the things that I find encouraging is seeing people go through the process, because often you don't see people struggle. And to be 100% honest with you right now, I am struggling through this process. So as a part of me chasing my own crown, this doctoral program is not going to get the best of me. I am going to finish and become Dr. Byron Anthony Green. But, without great sacrifice, there's no great reward. So we're going to keep fighting, right? So before we jump, like I said, we're going to jump into the current events and all that jazz. And I don't have a snazzy name this week because this encompasses way more than everything I've ever done. Mostly because I've been gone for so long, right? But you all know I live for Beyonce. Beyonce, and I could not start this episode with anybody else besides the queen herself. If you've been under a rock, in a closet, in the refrigerator, wherever it is that you might be where you don't hear the news, missing out on Instagram, the queen has announced that she is having a baby. Not one, 2 babies in her belly, growing right now. Magical creatures. I'm sure they will come out and bless this world with all of the amazing majesticness that a Carter Knowles has within her, very similar to the Blue Ivy Carter. But so the word is she announced the pregnancy because Blue shared something at school, which is super cute in and of itself. But you know, the queen always releases things on her own time, and gave you this really ethereal flower garden photo shoot where she is caressing that big old belly, and it has gotten big already. And really just letting you know, she's here to bring into the world 2 more perfect little children. And I think that's absolutely amazing. So there were a lot of things surrounding that pregnancy announcement anyways, because she was not only was she supposed to be performing a few different places, but also, in addition to performing at a few award shows, also performing at Coachella, right? So one thing that I thought was really interesting first was on Instagram, if you notice, she looked very pregnant. And then at the award show that she performed at, she also looked even bigger. But the background that they were playing, she looks bigger than that, and then she looked bigger in person. And I was like, these babies is growing at a rapid pace. And I know people that are pregnant with twins often grow a little bit faster than obviously growing with one baby inside of you. But A, I think that's just absolutely amazing. B, don't come for the queen, because I am 99% sure that she is not going to name her children different colors. So for those of you that are expecting yellow, red, dumb, don't do it. Don't come for her. But I will say this. I was talking to one of my friends, and I said, if she does this performance, she is going to give you old school Michael Jackson. I don't know if a lot of you remember, but long time ago, Michael Jackson broke his leg, I do believe, and gave a whole performance sitting in a chair. Just gave you choreo and arms and head and bop, cat, boom. Shout out to Lorianne. But I was certain that she was going to give y'all the exact same thing. And sure enough, did she not have those beautiful dancers escort her right over to that chair, a seat at the table, if you will, a little nod to Solange, got in that chair, and Jesus, if I was not petrified for her soul and them babies when that chair just and stopped, Lord. And of course you can see the gears when they gave you the shot above, but I was like, Lord, please let her be okay, please let her be okay, please let her be okay, Lord, just get her back. And y'all know Beyonce's had a very checkered past with the children and having very rough pregnancies, as she shared with us. So of course we're all waiting on bated breath, like, is she gonna be okay? Like, is this chair gonna break? Is this chair gonna give out? But of course, I have all faith that Beyonce had multiple people check that chair before she got up in it, and let her life, along with them 2 babies, just rest easy, sitting back in that chair, and come right back to you, giving you vocals every single step of the way, not missing a beat, a sound, a riff or note. She gave it to you. So, Queen, shout out to you staying the queen, and no shade to these other girls giving live performances with no vocals. When you had them babies, they were swinging on your vocal cords. So maybe, I don't know. I've never been pregnant, and I still can't sing, so I don't know either or neither. So, but, during the time, I was very excited about the performance, but I wasn't surprised that she didn't win. And let me tell you why I'm not surprised that she didn't win. Aside from the fact that Adele told you, like, what does Beyonce have to do to win this award? It's immeasurable what she has done with her career and her body of work. Not only did she take you on a journey through multiple emotions, anger, frustration, hurt, jealousy, being the whole 9 yards, and then brought you back and said, let's rebuild. Because remember, we married. We made this commitment. We up in this. But don't do it again, because, you might catch these hands, or Becky with the good hair might also catch these hands as well. But She let you into her life. Beyonce stopped doing interviews long time ago and stopped telling y'all about her life in real life also long ago. Every time something big has happened in Beyonce's life, she's giving you a quick little song, a little reference to it, and been done. But Lemonade was a whole body of cohesive work. It was a movie, and it gave you track by track by track of how she was feeling. And the Academy was just basically like, nah, I heard, I got it, but we still can get us to Adele. The past, we're not going to talk about it because the award to me means less and less and less and less. Y'all know I don't like Taylor Swift. I can't stand her with anything in me. I ain't never disliked somebody in my life as much as I dislike her, and I ain't never met her. But again, my prerogative. I don't care. She ain't paying my bills, and I certainly ain't paying hers. You heard? So, but again, it's not about these women or men that are doing as much as they doing what they can to win this award, but it's Adele made the point. What does she have to do to win this award? She's giving you album sales. She has given you vocals. She has given you live vocals. She has opened up herself and ripped off her scars and bared her soul to you, and you still said, but is it enough? Was Adele's album absolutely fantastic? Absolutely. But Adele cannot do what Beyonce does. Adele is a songstress. She will get up on that stage in a long black dress and give you vocal after vocal after vocal. She will share her hurt, her pain, her journey as well. But Beyonce is doing that and more. Okay, so understanding the whole implications that are Beyonce and the experience that she is giving to you and the movement and the effect that that album has had on the entire country, the world as it is, on top of giving you a stadium tour, not just some rinky-dink auditorium, not some, arena tour. She is giving you stadiums and selling out stadiums. People listen, football teams are doing this once a week, and Miss Beyonce, Giselle, Knowles, Carter was getting up on that stage every other day, every 2 days, and selling out arenas. The stadiums were packed. I digress. It is what it is. She has given us this amazing present. So the fact that she can't win this award, we all should have saw it coming. But it is what it is, No sweat off her back. Those checks were still cleared. You heard? But I think the reason that it was such a big deal was the fact that if you look at the numbers, and Solange tweeted this the next day, that there were so many African-American performers that have continued to get on that stage and grace us with their performances time after time. And yet, when you compare the numbers, those same artists are not winning these awards. So the question is asked that, am I good enough to perform for you and not good enough to receive your award? Am I good enough to provide entertainment, but again, not be recognized for the things that you have me do? The question is there. I'll leave it on the table. It's not for me to answer, but hey, it's there, right? And again, I am also not mad that she canceled Coachella. If y'all went on and bought your tickets, sorry. She's going to give it to you next year, 2018. But as a fan, as a supporter of this woman that is living her life and owning her truth, I'm most concerned about them babies being born into this world, happy, healthy children. And if that performance schedule and, attention to detail and desire for perfection that Beyonce has was going to hurt those children, I'm okay with her sitting her ass down and relaxing, going to all these shows and being out and about so y'all can see this baby bump and everything that comes with it. So when these babies come, it shouldn't be not a question about, oh, did Beyonce hold this baby, or did she have a surrogate, or who held the baby, no, she wants y'all to see every chance that she can get. Y'all gonna see this baby bump. She out here in these streets giving it to you. Speaking of her being out in these streets, and this is the last thing I'm gonna say about Beyonce because at this point, whatever, it's been like 10 minutes. But if you go check out my Instagram, I posted a few different pictures of her over the last few weeks. And the queen is good for a good sign, or she'll give you a few hints. But it was reported that Beyonce found out what she was having, along with her due date. Obviously, women that are pregnant know about when they're giving birth, and Beyonce has been seen on numerous occasions rocking some really golden pieces, complemented with emerald. And for those of you that don't know, emerald is the birthstone associated with the month of May. That would make sense, numbers wise, of when she was going to give birth and when she made her announcement. But, I don't know. I just happened to notice it because my favorite color is green, and I was like, the queen is wearing a whole lot of green here lately. Let me go back and check, and somebody mentioned that that at one point she was wearing two of the same colors, two of the same rings, and in addition to an emerald birthstone. So, I mean, she could be telling us that these children are going to grace our presence in the month of May. Stay tuned, we'll check it out, right? So moving on to the drama, real life, whatever, things less exciting than Beyonce. First thing I'm going to do is jump into Remy Ma and Nicki Minaj. So, where do I start with this? First of all, I love female MCs. Absolutely adore them. I think they go harder than the men. They come with passion. And honestly, their stories and the things they talk about, I'm able to relate to a lot more than, money, drugs, and killing hookers and prostitutes, whatever. And they just give me the swag that I'm really here for. And I can also understand what they're saying. No shade to Future or Designer, anybody, honestly. But I'm just here for female MCs like Eve and Missy Elliott and MC Lyte and all these, and Queen Latifah, all these women back in the day paving the way for these women that are here now. Just, I feel like they rap with such passion and such ferocity because they always had to prove themselves, right? So that being said, I was a fan from Remy Ma before she went to jail. So a lot of you have just been reintroduced to Remy Ma via Love and Hip Hop and her Black Love with Papoose. Amazing, absolutely. But back in the day, you just she gave y'all hits like Conceited, which I know all of my AKAs, shout out to the AKAs at NC State because I know y'all was repping that song. She also gave you a little Lean Back remix and a few other shots here or there, right? Well, Remy was on her way up, right? So she's coming from the bottom. She's on with Fat Joe and Terror Squad. They're, pushing their way through. Remy gets into it with a friend, goes to jail. Sorry, y'all. Somebody called me and I forgot to turn my phone on airplane mode. Sorry. But she gave y'all a lot of hits. Fast forward, Nicki Minaj comes on the scene, right? Nicki Minaj starts off super hood. She comes from the streets. She gives y'all verse after verse. She gives you Roman Reloaded, Pink. And Nicki at the beginning was way harder than she is now, in my opinion. Nicki Minaj came hard hitting, and she gave you verse after verse and bar after bar. But then she did something that most rappers do, and as she has progressed in her career, she could no longer talk about where she came from. She had to start talking about where she was at and where she was going, which softens the message, right? Because now you can't tell me life is hard and you sitting at Paris Fashion Week and living the life, right? Got money on top of money and got all these boys running around you. Money galore. Granted, I know all those things do not make you happy, but those are not the same things that you're rapping about when you started your career, right? Like you're rapping at the beginning of your career about how you had to push and fight and get and scrap to get to where you are and fight the men. So there's that. So here's the auspice of this whole entire situation, in my opinion. Old school rap battles when Remy Ma went into jail were bar for bar. It didn't matter about who was able to do this, who was able to do that, who was more popular, who was less popular. It was about write it and spit it. how great are the bars that you are spitting? So go back to Jay-Z and Nas. You know, that is a bar for bar fight, and Ether goes in. Y'all know I love Jay-Z as he is, you know, the husband of the Beyonce, but the Black Album was hard too, BT dubs. But Ether went in, and it was hard. It hit, and it didn't matter about the fact that of who had more notoriety, who was doing bigger things. It was, what is your message and what are you saying? Because this is the rap game, right? It's not who can sell the most art, who can do this, who can that. It's how good is what you're saying compared to the music and the musicality of it all. So Reminisce got on a track and gave you bar after bar after bar, 7 long minutes of reading. She opened up the Book of Minaj and said, where can I start? I'll start here, and get your life together. It was hard hitting. The name of the track is called Sheether. If you haven't checked it out, go listen to it. If you are at work, I recommend you don't play it out loud because it is a little vulgar at points. But everything in the song is allegedly true. There are certain claims that Nicki Minaj is disputing, saying that you can't slander and still think that's hard hitting. You know, we waited 24 hours. We waited 48 hours. We waited 72. And we were all sitting back, waiting for this old school rap battle, which we thought we were getting, to come hard, to push through, right? Everybody was like, where's Nicki Minaj's bars? The Barbs were out. They were making their own diss records and putting them over Nicki Minaj, Talking Heads, whatever the case may be. But then, weeks later, after Nicki Minaj was shooting her video out in some, beautiful locale, sitting at the sidelines in Paris Fashion Week, wearing a weave that touched her kneecaps and, also had her whole boobie out with a little pasty on it. Shout out to Lil' Kim, because if y'all thought that was the first time that a woman had her breast out as a part of an outfit, flashback to Lil' Kim. But you had beef with her too. I'm not saying you don't give your citations, but I mean, the outfit that you wore looked a lot like Lil' Kim inspired. You even gave the people some purple shades, which, if y'all remember, Lil' Kim's outfit was purple. I'm not saying, I'm just saying. Put it out there. You do with that what you want, okay? So Nicki Minaj living her life. We see her, taking, she just broke up with Meek Mills, a little like Streeter from, Ninja Turtles. But she's giving you, this, that, and the third. She's living her life. She teams back up with Lil Wayne and Drake, right? She teases some pictures out, and then she comes back, teases some more pictures out, and then she comes back with 3 songs. Count them, 1, 2, 3. One song is supposed to be directed at, her beef at Remy Ma, and then, Regretting Your Tears, which is a cute song, addresses her situation with Meek Mill. Now, here's the issue. I believe that Nicki Minaj did an amazing job at producing a hit record. Now, notice I didn't say she won the battle. She gave you a great song where she shared some hits at Remy. But that's not the game that we were playing, right? We have 2 women playing different games and winning at both of them. Nicki Minaj gave you a song that people are going to play over and over and over and over and over. No frauds. It's hot. It has a nice little beat to it. It's pop, hip-hop adjacent. Very similar-ish to Drake. However, when Drake did it, Drake not only gave a 1-2 punch, 3-4 punch, 5-6 punch with his bars, he gave it to you over a sick beat and made it a pop song where people were ready to hear. Old boy got a Grammy off a diss record, right? It was good. not only was the content good, the bars were good, but the musicality, the production of the song itself was good. Nicki Minaj gave you a few little kicks at Remy Ma and a cute song, right? She gave you 3. The first, No Fraud, which is the one that most people are talking about right now, was with Drake and Lil Wayne, and she has a verse on it. The second song also has Lil Wayne. The third song that addresses her situation with Meek Mouse Mills is a situation, it's by herself, right? And I was a little confused because Remy gave you bar after bar, no features. And Nicki, you came back and gave a hit record with Drake and Tunchi, right? So I think these women, in their own regard, have played separate games, and we're trying to judge them on that. And you cannot judge this street rap battle when one of the players is not playing by the rules of the game. Or this pop, hip-hop battle where it's more about a hit song and less about what you say. So, as far as who wins this battle, I don't know. I'm going to call it a draw just because, again, I think we're playing 2 different games. And until we figure out the rules and have both people play by the rules, you can't compare the songs. However, I got way more hype when I heard Sheether. No Frauds. It'll be on my iTunes. I'll bump it when I'm, running. As far as picking a side, Nicki, I don't know if I can. And if that makes me, a falafel or waffle, bloop, I deserve that, right? Because really, I'm a Beyonce stan, and at the end of the day, I really have no dog in this fight. So, there's that. So next, I'm going to talk about 45 right quick. If y'all haven't been paying attention to the news, 45 has been doing a whole lot of this, that, and the third. Really some flash booms, if you will. If y'all know who 45 is, it's your 45th president. Donnie, a.k.a. Cheeto, a.k.a. Commander and Cheese. Whatever it is that you want to call him, I will not be calling him by his name. Not in my time on this show. And that is just because I reserve that right. I mean, I didn't vote for him. But, I guess he won the Electoral College, which may be an indictment on the Electoral College because, 68 is bigger than 65. I'm just saying, I'm not saying, I'm just saying. It is what it is. But, in case you haven't checked out, here's a few things that have happened in the land of Politico. Your girl Betsy got, confirmed. The old Ray Sessions, he got confirmed too. Donnie pretended to care about African Americans and found every one of his token black friends and invited them out to the African American Smithsonian Museum in Washington, D.C. Bloop. He also gave y'all this cute little Muslim ban that he calls a travel ban. Round 1, the judges shot it down. And they was like, nah, bruh, you can't do that. Like, that's illegal. You can't just keep people out because their religion. Like, that's not a thing. You got 7 countries on here, and they're all, very heavily Muslim influenced. And you saying that this is a ban on travel, but then calling it a Muslim ban, but also in your, as you were running, also called it a Muslim ban, and then people are arguing about whether it's a travel ban, a Muslim ban, is it a ban at all? The fact is, there were hundreds of people stuck in limbo because some stuff that you tried to drop that weren't ready. Just period. It was trifling, it was xenophobic, it was, all of the things, excuse my language, I may have called it the wrong thing, but it's hated. It's hating. You can't hate people based on the fact of their religion. And honestly and truly, America is not meant to be a religious institution. If you mad, unfollow me, unfriend me, I don't care. My bills will still get paid. But at the end of the day, America, which was always meant to be a melting pot, and a place where people could go to escape, the tyranny that was, the people we were escaping. I don't know, where they were also trying to religiously persecute us. You can't do that to people now. It's asinine. Anyway, he came back. He's trying to do it again with Muslim ban round 2. We'll see how that goes. I'll talk a little bit more about that later. However, fake news became a thing. You can't just say people are fake. And your boy also said that my president, and I'm sure most of yours, your favorite, most recent president, wiretapped him at Trump Towers. And we said, where's the receipts, Donnie? I mean, if you think somebody's wiretapping you, show us. I am here for it. Do I believe that Barack Hussein Obama wiretapped you? No, sir. President Barack Obama was not pressed, and if he was pressed, I'm sure he had to have a warrant with probable cause, which means you should be even more concerned about this whole you being in bed with Russia and all the golden showers that you may or may not like. Again, not my business, because I won't run for president yet. But the last is Trump Care. Trump Care, he ran. He said, repeal and replace. We need to get rid of Obamacare. He did all that just to go in and say, I'm going to give you something Obamacare adjacent, right? The, conservatives super pissed because they're like, this is Obamacare 2.0. The liberals are really just sitting back and be like, you're messing up because lots of people are about to lose their health insurance. And really, you're helping and not helping all at the same time. And the people in the middle are just looking at you like you're dumb. Just dumbity-dum. Because not only does part of your party, not agree with what you're doing, the Dems on the other side are like, this is dumb, and you're not really fixing what you thought you were fixing. When Obamacare was instituted, everyone knew that it was going to needed to be amended. We knew that the first iteration of this legislation would not stand the test of time. We knew that it was a starting point. President Obama said it multiple times. This is a starting point. We need to get the ball rolling on universal health care. And we need to move to make sure that everybody has health care. We're trying to move towards something. This is not it. First step, right? And here we go again, trying to do it wrong. And your boy Donnie is in the White House giving out pizza parties and bowling trips to try and convince people to come over to his side and sign off on this bill that we just found out how much it's gonna cost and how many people are gonna be without. That's still hazy, right? We still don't know exactly how much it's gonna cost. But the Republicans said, don't worry, because that's taking into account that people are gonna have to have it, and we're saying you don't have to have it. And you telling me that I could have my iPhone or my healthcare? I'm a little confused. But if you would like to trivialize healthcare all the way down to the prices on iPhones, which, might I add, are on the way down while healthcare prices are on the way up, questions that need to be answered. Maybe you don't pay attention to Mac News and the price of iPhones because they recognize that the stuff is expensive and people ain't paying the right prices. So I digress. That's enough for Donnie for now, but don't you worry. I'm going to double back and talk about him later on. So I haven't had the chance to give Mona Scott Young as much time as I would like to. I've told you I've been in class at night, on Monday nights, which just prevents me from watching Love and Hip Hop, whatever iteration it is. I still have all the love in my heart for Cardi B. But last week, I was able to catch the first episode of Love and Hip Hop Atlanta. Baby, listen, I was turned up laughing every single moment at Jocelyn Hernandez, who is still a Puerto Rican princess, and giving you all kinds of teas that you asked for, and she continues to give it. And her and Stevie, bless his heart, jump roping at that first scene, and I know some of y'all eyeballs was like, Stevie Jordan is how old? One more time. Whew. Whew. But the most interesting part for me was Rashida and Kurt Frost and this baby by some young lady. Do I think that he had a baby on Rashida? Sure do. And if you pay attention to Rashida's Instagrams, back in the summer, Rashida and Kurt would post little cute videos in the morning. They'd wake up, and it was about the same time that I would wake up. So I wake up, I see their video, like, I need to get myself up and go work out, because Rashida and Kurt is up here working out, and hashtag Frost fam. And she stay at Pressed, her store in Atlanta. It's thriving. She has people coming there all the time, from my understanding, and her videos that she posts on Instagram. She out here living. But as the weeks progressed, I noticed that Kurt Frost was, notably missing from these morning workout videos, and the morning workout videos slowed down as well. And again, no shade, people get busy, whatever the case may be, but Kurt was missing. So will I be tuned in? Sling TV is going to be, help me stay in tune with my love and hip hop, because again, I have class tonight and won't be able to watch, but I'm here for it. But pop on over to Real Housewives of Atlanta and the fight between Portia and Kandi. Bloop, bloop. So if you haven't been able to watch, Portia and Kandi have been going back and forth, because at the beginning of the season, Kandi alluded that Block and Portia had intercourse. They knew each other in the biblical sense, if you will. And Portia was like, whoop, 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 whoop. We dated. I didn't say all this, that, and the third about what all was involved in me dating Block or not. But yes, I'm agreeing that we dated. No, I have not said anything about our sexual proclivities between the two of us. So that, festered and festered. And then Portia came back, according to the show, and alleged that Kandi's husband was cheating, and was, going to these different places and using different names and trying to, skadoop on other women, that Portia and her husband were allegedly trying to drug her and take advantage of her, and that they have a sex dungeon. So that's where the stuff hit the fan. So just before I go there, if you back it up, remember that Phaedra, also one of my favorites, mentioned that Shamia and Kandi were real close. Bumping purses. But if you're watching the show, Phaedra said it. Whew. Let me tell you why this is important and where things went off the rails. So first, shaming people for their sexuality, huge no-no. Because most importantly, you can't shame somebody on something they're not ashamed of. And you shouldn't be shaming people based off of something that they shouldn't be ashamed of. And if Kandi was a lady lover and wanted to go out here and do the things that lady lovers do, so who cares? Aside from, her husband, which, she, made a vow in front of God to be faithful to and true to. But Kandi told y'all herself that, yep, her and Todd have invited somebody into their bedroom to do what married folk do when they invite another person to the bedroom. But that she did not try to accost you. And in fact, you kissed her in the club. Ugh. Good grief. And here we go again. Y'all know I love Miss Portia, because she gives me extra. Read all about it. I'm here for it, because that's what we turn into Real Housewives of Atlanta for. Problem is that you can't shade people appropriately, but not on their sexuality. But again, and this is where it went left, because Portia came back and said, look, I am telling you what somebody told me. Somebody told me that you told them that you were trying to drug me and take advantage of me in said sex dungeon. Well, in the court, he say, she say, don't really fly. But Kandi only heard allegations of drugs, which y'all know what that did to Bill Cosby in his career. So really alleging that drugs were involved may have been a step too far, or repeating something in a hurtful way that you don't know to be true. You could have very easily, Portia, went over to Kandi and said, you know what, girl, this is what I heard. Is this true? Like, did you at some point try and drug me? She would have said no. And I'm sure y'all would have laughed at the fact that y'all had that special moment in Vegas where, the Henny, took over and you did what you did, had a little fun, kiss on the mouth. But it just got a little too wonky, and there's where I had the issue. I'm interested in seeing how this continues to unfold. Obviously, the restoration service / restoration intervention didn't go as planned, but we'll see how it goes. I'll be watching next week to see if Kenya Moore continues to annoy me. What Bob does to make up for not remembering beating up on Sheree, and not taking responsibility for what he did. Or, what else happens between Cynthia and Peter? Did you know they had double back one last time for a little miss my ex time? We don't know. But I will be staying tuned for that. Last thing I'll pop on is the Oscars. So for those of you that don't know, I am one of those people that likes to watch bad TV for the bad moments, really. And the Oscars is no different. I don't really like the Oscars, but I enjoy looking to see what people wear on the red carpet, because sometimes they just be messing all the way up. Wrongity, wrong, that's wrong. Or that's right, whatever the case may be. I'm not really here for the right dresses. I'm really just looking for the worst dress. But everything was this, that, and the third. Sorry, that's Benji. Everything was this, that, and the third. It is what it was. Only note that I have, two notes that I have. One, y'all just refuse to give Denzel his things. Denzel, amazing body of work, not only acting in, but directing. Fences. Viola Davis, amazing performance. Moonlight also as well was amazing. I watched it and was so enamored with the story that was told, and how it was told. And two, I am very grateful that Moonlight won over La La Land. I'm not here for La La Land. Do I think it was amazing to have a new musical set in today's, current time? Yeah, I guess, the last musicals that were done and put on the big screen were years and years ago, but average at best. Do I think the actors did an amazing job? Yes. But I think when you have things that are superb and telling stories that have never been told, those are the stories that need to be rewarded. And Moonlight was a story that had not been told on the big screen. La La Land was. Two people meet, fall in love, dance around the city of LA. I've seen it on every Hallmark movie and Lifetime movie again and again and again. Don't get me wrong, it's cute. I'm glad they're able to do their things. But one, Denzel deserves his things. And two, I am happy, beyond happy, that Moonlight won their top award for the night. So I think that is all that I have for the current mess. So, stick around. I got more for you. Okay, y'all, so just a quick break. I want to let y'all know that I just started this new program on Beachbody. It's called Core de Force. It is absolutely amazing. I just finished week 1, starting into week 2, and I'm already seeing results very quickly. I'll post some before pictures, just so you can get a look at that. Y'all, I don't really do body shots very often, but for this I will, just because I'm seeing so much change in my core so very quickly. Joel Freeman and Jericho Mick Matthews, doing amazing job. I hate getting on the ground and doing crunches. It's just not my zhuzh. I don't like it. Y'all know I swear up and down by Sean T. Insanity, Insanity Max, T25. I get my life from each of them, but this core de force gives it to you. And no offense to Joel, but Jericho Mama is out here working and serving, post-pregnancy vibes. I think she mentioned that she was, coming off of pregnancy, but her kick be like up here, and I'm like, girl, can I just get my kick like right here? But I absolutely adore it. I'm seeing results very quickly. Again, stick with it. But I'll let you know what I think of it when I finish the program, and then maybe you'll see a legit, summer body 2017, ready to pop. But we'll get right back to it, chasing the crown. All right, so we've come to that part of the show where we talk about chasing the crown. This week's chasing the crown is going to take a little bit of a different feel, and I hope it feels more like a call to action. So before we jump too far down in this, for those people that think or say you're letting X, Y, and Z distract you from the real issues, you're wrong. I need you to sit down, have several seats, because God gave me, and I think you, the propensity to think about 2 different things at the same time, right? Like, you can think about chewing gum in your mouth and walking with your feet, or you can think about what you're doing at your desk probably right now and what you're also going to have for dinner. Thinking about what you're going to have for dinner is not completely distracting you from what you were doing on the whole part. Or, even if you don't do them at the exact same time, thinking about dinner does not make it get to 5 o'clock any faster. I mean, in my opinion, I've sat at my desk many a day thinking about what I was going to have for dinner and looked up at the clock and said 1:30 right after lunch, and thought about dinner, looked back at the clock and it said 1:32, and it didn't get me any closer to 5 o'clock by thinking about dinner. So I say all that to say you can think about the ratchetness that is going on in the world and the political issues that are facing our youth and ourselves at the same time and not be distracted. With that being said, a few weeks ago, your boy Donnie rolled back protections of trans students in public spaces and public schools in the bathrooms, right? First of all, I was livid. Because I immediately thought about the trans individuals that I know and thought about them as children in a public school system and what type of turmoil they could have gone through. I don't know, again, because I've never had those conversations with them. But I thought to myself, we've gone so far as to provide these protections for these individuals that are in our public schools, and then you are going as far as to say, you know what, let's roll it back and let's make the states responsible for adding these protections if they want to. If they want to, they can. If they don't worry about it. No big deal. Now, contextualize, I work in student affairs. I work as a residence hall community director now. And my job affords me a luxury that is not afforded to many people. Not only do I get to be an advocate for every last one of my students, but my job allows me the opportunity to read and engage with news as it relates to my students. So that means that when a Muslim ban is introduced, or a travel ban, I'm able to, look and research and figure out how it is going to affect my students and ergo how I can support my students in a way that makes sense. The same with this, that I advocate for each and every one of my trans students and friends that identify as trans. And again, my job allows me the opportunity to research and dig into these sound bites that you all ingest, or these news articles that you all post onto Facebook, and really dig down into what exactly is it that we are saying. So that being said, I care about my students not because I am employed to do so, but because I think at the heart, everybody should care about the people that are around them. And I'll get more to that later on. But this situation particularly struck a chord with me just because it was a part of this barrage of things that Donnie was introducing that honestly I believe that he's doing in an attempt to confuse you and provide some of that fatigue, so you just get tired and like, you know what, I'm tired of all this stuff that Donnie is doing. 45 is just producing this and this, and then at the end of the day you're like, well, whatever he's doing is less than what he was doing before, so you end up feeling like you got to win when you didn't. Caitlyn Jenner, I love, respect you as a person, but I think you're dumb, girl. You're dumb. D-U-M-B, dumb, dumbity-dum-dum-dum. You know why you're dumb? Because you supported Donnie. You sat right up high on that high horse that you have and every bit of privilege that you own as a white woman, and said, Donnie, I believe that you're going to do right by the trans community. You know, you went on your show and explored the lives of trans individuals left and right. And Caitlyn, as a trans woman, you should have been the first to say, hey, my identity as a trans woman far exceeds my identity as a Republican, and Donnie is not going to do right by the trans youth. It's just not going to happen. No matter what you think, saw, heard, paid for, it ain't. But that's your judge. Laverne Cox, you are the bomb.com for standing up for trans issues the way I believe a trans individual should. You are getting out in front of the camera and telling people what it is and what it ain't. Ethan Grimm, I am here for you. I support you. I stand behind you, as you don't need anyone to fight for you. Your voice is magnanimous and you speak your truth. So I encourage you to continue to be the man that you are and fight the battle that you fight, especially on this topic. So I had the conversation with a few different people about what was going on, right? And then my best friend, Selena, posted something about, back me up. There was a post that went out. I'm not sure who started it, but the post said, this is not about bathrooms. This is not about bathrooms, as it was not about water fountains. Alluding to the fact that there is more to this issue about trans students and bathrooms than just like there was more to the issues of African Americans and water fountains. It was not just you can't use his water fountains. There was way more deep-rooted, seated hatred that comes from them. These are where these two issues stop. Bloop, 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 right there. Yes, these are two situations that on the surface look like what you are talking about, what your talking points are similar. No, it is not about bathrooms. No, it was not about water fountains. But you should not be comparing your issue to this issue, our issue to this issue, because they're not the same. And doing that only lessens one issue because you're saying that it cannot stand on its own merit. This situation with rolling back the protections for trans students in public spaces and bathrooms and public schools has enough merit to stand on its own. It does not need to be compared to the civil rights fight that African Americans went through that was steeped in hatred and at its root the belief that black people were less than. They were slaves. They were 3/5 a person, and then you said you are not worth you are not able to drink from the same fountain that I drink from because you are less than. So there's way much more. It's this iceberg, and you see the tip, and this tip is this water fountain, but you have to acknowledge the history that comes with it and the fight that was behind it. Am I saying that they are not similar? No, I'm not saying that they're not similar, but different. So this was posted, and one of my friends, Selena, I mentioned, made a post and said this was incredibly disrespectful for people to be comparing the issues that trans students are going through currently to the fight that African Americans went through in the civil rights. And I was heated, upset, angry on my inside. Me and Selena have been friends for 11 years at this point, and we've never gotten into an argument. And at first I was like, is this going to be the moment that me and my best friend get into it? And then I had to realize like what I was actually mad about. So, because I am who I am, I did not go through Twitter fingers, Facebook fingers. I thought about what it was that was upsetting me. And then I realized, she right. We can't compare these two issues. Again, they are not the same. And comparing them only takes away from each of their individual attributes as a coherent argument. I called up my friend Julian, who's actually, if you're watching the show earlier, he's the one that called me. I'm sorry, I'm going to call you back. But I was talking to him and his partner Matthew, and I was like, I need to understand why this upsets me as much as it does. And we were able to shift through a lot of different things. And really, I think at the heart of all of it was, I'm mad at white gays. And I say that because this little thing called intersectionality, right? And go with me because I'm going to weave and win, blah, blah, blah. But I was upset because I said, you can't, in this moment, take away from this issue by trying to bolster or beef up this issue. I am one person that sits at the intersection of both of these communities. And by these communities, I very much mean the LGBTQIA community. And a part of that community, gay, lesbian, bi, trans, that's what they are. I consider them my people. I am also black, if you hadn't noticed. Melanin popping. So again, I can do two things at once, and I can fight two fights. And the hardest day was watching a black man die on the news again and again on the same day that marriage equality was passed. Because on one step, I was like, gosh, I'm incredibly excited that equal rights are extended to my community. But I also just watched another black man die at the hand of a police officer. And I don't know how to feel. And I had so many people that were like, oh, this is amazing. What a wonderful day. And I'm looking at them like, somebody died today. And I'm looking at people that are like, oh, this is such a horrible day. And I'm like, y'all, we just had a huge milestone. Marriage equality has been provided to everyone. Don't ask me to choose sides. I can't do it. But what I can do is fight for everybody. And talking to the two of them, it just made it increasingly more clear that there are people in my community that care about the things that they care about and are only directly affecting them, which hurt. Because like I said, I have been afforded the opportunity to care and advocate for any and everybody that may come across my residence hall, whatever the case may be. And this is not an indictment on white gays, but this is me saying, hey, this is a member of our community, as much as we may not see it, that needs our help. And we have been silent, not saying a word. It's okay. That little person that does not feel comfortable going into the men's bathroom and feels even less uncomfortable going to the women's bathroom. Where are we at? We need to be up, screaming, hollering, rooting just like we did in Stonewall. Losing our stuff supporting these students because they can't fight for themselves. And I realized that the people that were saying, oh, that were comparing one to the other were my white gay friends. And I was like, I love you, I love you, I love you, I love you. But this is disrespectful. Just wrong. I know, I understand your intent, but your impact is wrong. You have hurt another population that could be standing in solidarity with you. Let the issue stand on its own. The thing that, you know, I mentioned intersectionality, and that's something that extends all across the board. And it is not going to, and I honestly believe in my heart of hearts when Hillary Rodham Clinton said, we are stronger together. We are. We have to stand up at some point in time for an issue that has nothing to do with us. Because when an issue that does come along that does have something to do with you, you're going to get mad when somebody else doesn't stand up with you. I get pissed off. Black Lives Matter, do I believe that to my core? Absolutely. But Black Lives Matter did not speak a woman's name until Sandra Bland. And again, fact check me if I'm wrong. I'll apologize. I'll reel it back. But one of the first women that was majorly supported, we were fighting out there, was Sandra Bland, and that was say her name. Go back, look at the hashtags. Black Lives Matter supporting black men. And we were incredibly silent when there were double-digit numbers of trans women dying every day. The last month of 2016, I think we lost more than double digits. Like, that is outrageous. Outrageous that there are trans people of color that are dying and we're not saying their names. Are we not saying their names because they're not men? Are we not saying their names because they're gay? Are we not saying their names because they identify as trans? What is the reason we are not saying their names? Explain it to me. And don't cite Laverne Cox and say, you know, oh, she's standing up for that community, because we all need to be standing up for it, period. If you believe that Black Lives Matter and you're a homophobe, you're a part of the problem. I went on a Twitter rant about All Lives Matter because, again, I said, where are you at? If all lives matter, shouldn't trans people's lives matter too? Question mark. I mean, because they are indeed a life, and they would fall under the category of all. Or is your movement only about retorting Black Lives Matter? Do you not get enraged when other lives are taken? Or are you, tired from, fighting back at Black Lives Matter? Whatever the case may be, I want to see you just as pissed and angry and fervent as you are when somebody says Black Lives Matter when a trans person dies. Because they indeed are life. And I would love to see the All Lives Matter hashtag when it has nothing to do with the black life. I would love that. And really, again, going back to my white gaze, it was, you stand in the middle. You have so much power and influence, and yet we're quiet. Or when we do say things, we're not uniting. We're dividing. And that's upsetting. So I think all in all, what I'm trying to say and what I was able to gather from my conversation with Selena, Julian, and Matthew was that in order to be invited to the table to fight for everyone, somebody's going to have to step up and fight for something that does not affect them personally. And the first people that I think can do that are you. To step up for a situation that has nothing to do with you. Because in the event, and deal what happened, that you need somebody to stand up with you, you're going to wish that you stood up with them. So, I digress, but I encourage you all watching this video to stand up when it has nothing to do with you. to support the people that are standing up. Stand behind them and hold them up. You may not have the words. You may not know exactly what to say, what is right, what is politically correct, the language to use, but simply saying, I am here. I don't know what you need me to do, but I am here. I will yell if you want me to yell. I will scream if you want me to scream. I will be quiet and listen if you want me to be quiet and listen. But what I am willing to do is something. Silence is complacent, and sitting and not saying anything is not worth it. If you don't think that this is a notable cause, then join the next one. But I encourage you, I implore you to join a cause that does not have anything to do with you. Because again, you're going to need some help somewhere along the line. And I am not encouraging you as a quid pro quo situation. I am saying that we are stronger together. As a force, as a people, as a whole, we can be stronger than oppression. But it takes people that are not oppressed to get behind those that are oppressed and push them forward. And until that happens, status quo. Until that happens, somebody that had the backing of a former leader of the Ku Klux Klan will continue to win presidencies. Somebody that was a xenophobe and an Islamophobe and said nasty things about women will be president. And you're going to be mad. Who in debates told you police lives matter. Black lives, what? Bloop bloop. But y'all stayed at home and didn't vote. Get mad. Care about something that is not just you. And let's go do something. And that's all I got. If I hurt your feelings, my bad. But one thing I will say is that I love and care about you. And if my truth is hurtful, before you tell me that my truth is hurtful, examine why you're hurt. And if you make it past that, I'll love to engage in a conversation with you. With that being said, have a great week.